Okay, so I gotta say, sometimes OpenAI kind of feels like that one friend we all have, you know?
Yeah.
The one who just unloads like a whole season's worth of plot twists all at once.
Yeah, I can see that. A lot to digest with these announcements, for sure.
Seriously. And this time is no different, right? We're
Okay.
talking AI that can practically talk back to you. Now, AI that can like see what we're seeing, it's getting kind of wild.
Well, maybe hold off on that robot butler fantasy for just a bit longer.
Okay, fair point. But we've got a stack of articles here all about these OpenAI updates, and honestly, it's a lot. Where do we even begin with all this?
How about with something everyone who's ever, wanted to throw their phone at a chatbot can relate to? OpenAI is making some major moves in making AI sound, less robotic, more natural when you're talking to it.
Oh, tell me about it. Who hasn't spent time trying to navigate one of those awful phone menus?
Exactly. And that's where this whole real-time API thing comes in and these audio updates for chat completions they're doing.
So, Les, please hold. Your call is important to us and more. Actual conversation, like a real back and forth.
Yeah, pretty much. Think of it like, I don't know, a language learning app. Instead of that stilted AI voice just reading off phrases, now it can actually understand when you pause, what your tone is, maybe even jump in with corrections more naturally.
That would make those apps so much better. Honestly, just way less frustrating to use. I'm
Sure.
tired of fighting with the robot just to practice my French, you know?
And it's more than just sounding better, right? This real-time API, it's a big deal for the developers behind the scenes, too. Before this, they had to basically Frankenstein different models together to do stuff like speech recognition and then turn text back into speech. Now it's streamlined, which means building these more advanced voice AI experiences is going to get a whole lot easier.
And when things are easier to build, we usually see them faster, right? Any real-world examples of this tech out in the wild yet?
Oh yeah, already happening. Healthify is using it to build a health coach that sounds way more natural, and there's a language app, Speak, that's using it for these wild role-play scenarios.
Okay, I can see that being super helpful for practicing those real-life conversations you just never know how to handle. But OpenAI didn't stop at just talking AIs, did they? This is where things get really interesting.
Oh, for sure. Get ready, because now we're talking AI that can see. OpenAI just introduced this thing called vision fine-tuning for GPT-4o, and, well, it's about as big of a deal as it sounds.
Okay, hold on, back up a second. Seeing AI, what does that even mean? Like, does it have little robot eyes now?
Oh, not exactly. Basically, it means that now developers can train GPT-4o to make sense of images, but, really understand them in a deeper way. It's like, imagine teaching a kid how to read, but instead of words and letters, it's the whole visual world they're learning.
So instead of text prompts, I could show GPT-4o a picture of, I don't know, a weird plant I found, and it could tell me what it is and, how to keep it alive.
You got it. And think about the possibilities beyond that, right? This has huge implications for things like self-driving cars getting even better at understanding what they're seeing, or doctors using AI to look at medical images with even more detail and accuracy.
Okay, that's amazing. We're talking about a whole new level of AI applications here.
Absolutely. And what's really wild is how little data you need to make this vision fine-tuning thing work. Like in some cases, developers are seeing big improvements with only 100 images or so.
Wait, 100 images? That's like what? A week's worth of selfies for some people?
That-
This AI learns fast.
It does, and they're already putting it to use in some interesting places. Grab, the ride-sharing company,
Yeah.
they're using this tech to make their maps even more accurate by analyzing street signs and lane markings, all that.
So they're using AI to literally see the roads just like we do. That's wild. And honestly, anything that makes navigating with those apps better is a win in my book.
For sure, and it just goes to show you how quickly this stuff is moving from the lab out into the real world in ways that directly affect us.
Seeing the road like we do, that's kind of freaky, but also really cool. But it's not just maps and driving, is it? What else are they using this vision fine-tuning thing for?
Well, there's this company, Automat. They build those software bots that automate tasks. They're using it to make their bots, smarter about how they use computer screens.
Wait, so instead of just following a set of instructions, these bots can actually look at what's on the screen, understand it, and then, make their own decisions?
Pretty much. It's like giving them a pair of eyes and a brain to actually process what they're seeing, not just react to it.
Okay, that is seriously cool. Think this could help me finally sort through the million photos I've got on my phone.
Maybe not quite there yet, though I'm sure someone's working on it. But here's something you might find interesting. CoFrame. They're using this tech to build a website design assistant powered by AI.
Hold on. So instead of me trying to like wrestle with website code, I could just show this AI what I want and it'll build it for me. That'd be a dream come true, honestly.
Right. And it's more than a dream, they're actually doing it. By training GPT-4o on tons of images and code, CoFrame's made this tool that can generate website layouts and even write some of the code itself.
My mind is officially blown. Talking AIs, seeing AIs. What's next? Is it going to start doing my taxes for me?
Let's not give it any ideas. But speaking of making things more accessible, which is a whole other thing, right? OpenAI is doing some really interesting stuff behind the scenes to bring this AI power to, more than just the big tech giants.
Because let's be real, not everyone's got Google-sized budgets to throw around, right? What are they doing to level the playing field a little?
So one of the big things is this thing called model distillation. Imagine you've got this amazing chef who knows all the fancy techniques, but their recipes are super complex, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
Model distillation is like taking those recipes and simplifying them so that even I could follow them. But you're not losing that much of the original, the flavor, the complexity. Basically, they're training these smaller AI models that can still do a lot of what those bigger ones can, just more efficiently.
So it's like gourmet AI, but for the rest of us? Why is that so important for developers, though?
Well, for one, it means they don't need as much computing power, which translates to less money spent to build really cool AI experiences. And that's huge because it means smaller companies, even just individual developers, they can get in on the action.
More innovation, more competition, and hopefully, better stuff for us in the end. What else are they doing to make AI more, I don't know, user-friendly, for lack of a better term?
Remember prompt caching? We talked about that earlier. Think of it like the AI remembering a conversation so it doesn't have to start fresh every single time. That not only makes things faster for the user, but it also saves the developers money because they're not constantly rerunning the same calculations.
So it's like an easy button for everyone involved. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
So OpenAI is basically giving away free candy and offering a discount. What's the catch?
No catch. They're actually giving away 2 million training tokens every day for GPT-4o Mini and 1 million for GPT-4o until the end of October.
Okay, see, now that's what I like to hear. Sounds like they're serious about making sure people actually use these tools.
They are, and that's what makes this whole thing so exciting, because who knows what people are going to come up with. We could be on the verge of a whole wave of new AI stuff.
It's both really cool and also, I don't know, a little bit intimidating,
Yeah.
right? All this power, all this potential, and we're still figuring out what it all means. It's like we're giving away the instruction manual, but we haven't quite figured out what it all builds yet.
I get what you're saying, and it really highlights how important this whole idea of responsible development is, Any tool can be used in ways we don't expect, for good or, well, not so good. It's up to us to steer in the right direction.
So it's not enough to just build cool tech. We got to be smart about it, too. Ask the tough questions.
Exactly, and those questions are going to keep getting tougher as this AI stuff gets more, powerful. We're still in the early stages here. The next few years are going to be really interesting.
Exciting and kind of scary all at the same time.
Definitely both. But that's what happens when you're dealing with something this new, this unknown. You got to be cautious, but you got to be open to the possibilities too.
That's a good way to put it. So for our listeners who are ready to jump into this whole world of AI head first, where do they even begin? What is you most excited about the future of all this?
For me, it's the creative possibilities. We've talked about self-driving cars, better healthcare, which are huge, obviously. But imagine AI that can help us make sense of complex scientific data in a whole new way through visuals or AI that can make art, music, stuff that blurs the lines between human and machine. That's the kind of stuff that really gets me going.
It's like opening a door to a room and you have no idea what's inside. Could be amazing, could be a little terrifying.
No doubt. But it's going to be one heck of a ride, that's for sure.
And on that note, I think we'll leave it there for today. Just remember, this is just a tiny taste of what's happening in the world of AI. We'll be back soon to break down even more exciting developments as they happen. Until then, stay curious, everyone.